you don't have that app, go ahead and download it. I am streaming onto YouTube and Facebook and my Facebook group. Facebook group is, you can look for it by going to Being Boundless, facebook.com/group/Being Boundless. It is called 5D Awakening. We are transitioning into the 5th dimension. Rather, we are transitioning into living more from the 5th dimension than the 3rd, which is simply that of the physical senses. So I am sharing information that comes to me through guides and my higher self and those 5D energies in these broadcasts, in these videos. So welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so, or if you haven't joined the group yet, do so. If you're on YouTube, hit like and comment, please. I love comments. If you're on Facebook, comment. I always read them. Today we are going to reprogram selfish. First things first, how I came about this information was through the runes. I was looking at the rune manas. And the runes are the ancient writing system, the writing system of the ancient Germanic peoples, Norway, Vikings, even before the Vikings. So, manas is a rune that means humanity. And I realized the second I looked at it, I said, oh, that's one yo reflected on itself. See how you can, it's one yo reflected on itself. One yo is a rune of joy, of following that which brings one joy. And right away, it became very evident that selfish is not. It's not a true thing, because we are all so intricately connected that what we do for ourselves, we do for the whole. What we do to ourselves, we do to the whole. What we do for another, we do for ourselves, kind of. It's an energetic that is there. And therefore, selfishness isn't a real thing. It cannot be, because we are all interconnected and interrelated in that way. If somebody calls another selfish, it's pointing out a deep wound in that person who calls that other selfish. I don't care for myself. Because that's where selfishness comes in. If we're taking care of ourselves, doing what we want to do, doing what feels right for us to be doing, it can seem selfish. It seems selfish by those who don't care for themselves. Makes sense, doesn't it? So are you being selfish? Of course not. You're actually adding value to the community when you care for yourself. Take that in. Take that in. Breathe in. So, we're going to be reprogramming selfish today, but I want you to think, and I'd love for you to participate right in the comments. When do you feel selfish, or when have you been called selfish? You're not the only one in your shoes. You're not the only one who's been called selfish, and you're also not the only one who might feel guilty for taking care of yourself, for setting your boundaries, for saying no. You might feel guilty for that, because we are conditioned in this reality to put others' needs first. And this is especially true for women. I'll bring something up very quickly, and then I'll talk about the next rune that makes sense in this context. Men that are successful will almost always say that it's because of the woman behind me. And it doesn't mean that the women are behind the man. It means that he has a woman who believes in him, who encourages him, who trusts him and his decisions, and honors his courage and the risks that he will take. So the most successful people that are men will say, they will say that she had like everything to do with it. Most men are used to being cared for in that way. Most women are not. Most women are told to be quiet. Most women are told that they don't know what's best for them. Most women are told that they're meant to take care of everybody else. This isn't an ego trip necessarily, maybe a little bit, but it is simply the energetics of looking at what is actually happening. It's amazing how much that care for another expands a person. We have to care for ourselves first. We have to care for ourselves before we can fully receive the care from another. Women don't always do that. Women don't always care for them, and neither do men. It's not only women that have this issue, it's all of us, especially in this culture. Put yourself last because everyone else needs to be taken care of, because nobody grew up caring for themselves and really owning and claiming what's best for them in the moment, right now, what's best for me. Going live, trying Haps. It's new, I've never done it before. Here I am, I'm on Haps. I think I'm on YouTube, and I think I'm on Facebook and my Facebook group too. Not sure. This will probably also be a podcast. I love how to do podcasts, people. Please leave a review. You know, all of that. Okay, so that was just a little example of how important it is to be on your own side and then be able to receive the energy given by another. Maybe you do have a man that is absolutely behind you, but you don't trust it because you don't care for yourself. Put yourself first for a moment. It means you're going to say no. It means people are going to say, who is this person? They're supposed to be taking care of me. But what happens when you reveal by disengaging a wound that needs healing? It can heal. If there's a wound and you're engaged, how can it heal? If you didn't watch my letting people down video, now would be a good time, actually, because that talks about how we really disempower people by trying to hold them up. And yeah, it's a different energetic than standing behind somebody and supporting them energetically. Very different than trying to control them and their state of being or their life or the way they are. Very, very different energy. But it can be subtle in language, but not in energy. The next rune is Dagas. Dagas is day. It's the cycle of day, and it begins at night. I love this. The day cycle begins at sunset, because we create our day starting the night before. When you go to bed, you are starting your day. What are you programming yourself with at night? I didn't read. I am listening to a book. Very rare. I love to read. I love to hold something in my hand and read it. I'm listening to a book. It's on my phone, so I can't even tell you what it is. Try to put it in the notes or in the comments. But it deals with wealth and with that wealth consciousness. And the premise is, don't say I am a millionaire or I am prosperous even. Don't say that, because your ego, your conscious mind is going to come in and say, nah, and then there's no match, there's no congruency. But if you just simply focus on the word or saying the word, getting into the energy of the word wealth, feel that, wealth, feel that, success, feel that, success. You're not saying anything about you being wealthy or you being successful when you really don't feel that way. You're planting that seed of thought which is energy in your subconscious, so that it can grow as it will, as it will. Well, yeah, that feels good. All right, well, success. Woo! So anyway, that's how you can start your day. I am doing this video or podcast on reprogramming selfish, because there is no such thing. Dagas, another rune that is mirrored, like manas, humanity, day, or the cycle of day. If you think about the full cycle of a day, night to day, it is everything. Light and dark, boom. One day encapsulates everything. Pardon the rain, especially if you're simply listening. It is the marriage of opposites. It is transcending duality. And if you look at the rune manas, it's almost like the rune Dagas on stilts. Or it actually is exactly the rune Dagas on stilts. So humanity then, in its highest version, is that sacred inner marriage, that transcendence beyond duality. Real humanity is when that is lifted up and honored. Back to selfishness, because we're going to reprogram this here. Selfishness, again, it points out a wound in ourselves or in another. If you feel guilty about being selfish, meaning you're putting yourself first, that means you've been taught that you're meant to put others first. The problem with that is what you give, you receive. But it's not the action, it's the energy. And if you're resenting, if you're drained and you're giving, that only leads to resentfulness, because you're drained and you're giving what you don't have. What you give, you receive. If you're giving from a space of being drained, you will receive what will continue to drain you. Okay? So really feel that, and then you can take that into your life. And let me know if this is making sense to you. Take that into your life. Look at the things that have drained you, and look at what you've received from doing the things that have drained you. And let me know if something came back to fill you up that came from outside of you. Or if you finally decided one day, I'm filling myself up. And then what came back? Let me know. I'm curious. I'd love to know. If you're listening to this on the podcast, go into my group 5D Awakening on Facebook and let me know. If you're calling other people selfish, look at that, because you are wounded and it's okay. We're all wounded. You're no worse, no better than anyone. However, it's time you care for yourself. And look at how when we all start to care for ourselves first, the whole world heals. Some people won't see it that way because they were used to you taking care of them, but you taking care of them made it so that they don't have to take care of themselves. We're adults here. This is for adults. So when you step away from doing that and you start to take care of yourself, it's incredible how much you will receive from that and be able to then give. You'll have your own back and you'll be able to receive other people having your back. Men have their own back. They do. Most. I'm generalizing. If we're going to generalize and we look at the population of the feminine and of the masculine right now, the masculine has its own back. And the feminine keeps draining itself to give to this space that has its own back, and it drains itself and it receives drainingness back. I made that word up, drainingness. take it and run with it or not. And if the feminine would just have its own back, it's incredible what could happen. Not what could happen, what is happening as the feminine starts to and will continue to have its own back. And then the masculine has its own back, the feminine has its own back, and everybody amplifies everybody. Boom, let's reprogram selfish. Close your eyes. What does the word selfish mean to you? There's a thought form, yeah. There's a thought form that says, oh, I'm selfish. And it creates an emotion, and it's not a great emotion. I'm just trying things. Oh, okay. Close your eyes. And we're going to use the pillar, the thought form, the belief, which I call a pillar, because when you shine that light into the subconscious and it hits that pillar of I am selfish, it makes the feeling, the shadow of guilt or shame or anger, whatever that shadow is. So the shadow's doing its job by making you feel guilty. That's the shadow's purpose. So that you become aware of the pillar of thought that's holding you in this position that's not good for you. So as you relax into your body, please call up the pillar of selfish. And let it shrink. Let it shrink to the size of a small little toy that you can fit in your hand. And hold on to it. And we're going to use the blue room meditation. So we'll go down. Leave your body and go down. Go down into the earth. Down among the rocks and the crystals. Down and down. And down until you reach the molten hot core in the center of the earth. This is such a beautiful vision of transformation, because as the phoenix rises from the fire, from the ashes, it's our turn. It's your turn. I will rise from these ashes as the phoenix rose, renewed. So take that energy of the phoenix with you and rise back up. And up and up, coming into your body. Take a breath. Visualize a tube of light going up and start to float on upward out of your body, all the way up, up, up through the atmosphere. So high, you feel the earth's pull gently let you go, and you float higher and higher. You can turn around and see the galaxy, the Milky Way. As you keep floating upward, you now see it condense. The expansion condense below you of Laniakea, our star system, our main, huge system of galaxies. And you continue to rise up. You can face up and face the edges of the universe and come to a great white building. Inhale, exhale, smile, because you know it's time to empower yourself now. As you open the door, you're greeted by two of your guides, and you come into the most beautiful blue room you've ever been in. Your guides lead you to a table in the center. Your inner child is there, your soul is there, and that shadow, that little guilt shadow is there. They're here to transform with you. So place your pillar, I am guilty, or I am selfish, excuse me. I am selfish, so bad, on the table, and take a moment to explain to your inner child and soul and shadow how that I am selfish makes you feel. Take a few moments now and let it out. How does it make you feel? Your inner child knows this is a program that was put in you when you were little, or maybe last lifetime, or thousands before. Maybe it's a collective energy that no one had control over. But now you do because you're aware. Thank you, Shadow. So let your inner child tell you now what happened to give you this sense of feeling guilty or ashamed when you take care of yourself. Let your inner child let you know. Where did that come from? Why is it not okay to be selfish? Hearing the truth of where this came from, feel pretty good because, hey, it's not your fault. Might not be your fault, now it's your responsibility, but your soul knows the true pillar that's meant to be in the place of that selfish idea, the idea that selfish even exists. So allow that pillar to rise up now, and it's sitting on the table, and it's growing, and it's glowing, and it's crystalline, and it causes no shadow. Feel the essence of what's true, what's meant to be in the place of the idea of selfish, the thought of selfish and that it's bad. Feel it. Maybe a phrase comes in to support the feeling. What is best for me is best for all. I am meant to have my own back. I am meant to care for me first. Whatever it might be. Feel it again, really feel it. And turn to your shadow, because my gosh, your shadow's so happy. Hey, look, I got your attention, and now you've reprogrammed, and we can let go, and I can stop working. Your shadow, when you embrace, and you feel that shadow dissolve into the highest aspect of it and of you, and you merge with your shadow, because that's integration at its finest. Turning back to your inner child, thank her or him too for the work and the light and the love that he or she showed you. And she now sees, or he now sees, how brilliant you are, and that little child is, and always was. And you hug, you embrace, and you merge together at this higher level of being, of knowing the truth, of being whole and complete. And your guide, one of your guides, walks forth with a new contract and a pen, and the contract is simply stating that this pillar that came up and rose today is from here on out the truth of who you are. It is what you believe, and it is how you live. You're totally ready to sign this, and so is your soul. So you take the pen and you sign your name saying, oh yeah, this is totally, yeah, this is it. And your soul speaks yes and no. And since this is a yes, your soul signs yes. Yes. Now, let the pillar come into you and be what is the truth. Let yourself merge and embrace with your soul at the highest level of your being. And hand the contract back to your guide, who of course puts it into your Akashic record file. It is done. This is so. And from this space of true wholeness and empowerment and truth, you turn around to walk back to the door, enjoying that beautiful blue color one last time. You open the door and step gingerly into the tube of light that brought you to the blue room. And you slowly and lovingly float your way back down toward the earth, down toward the place of heaven, Laniakea, this huge system where our galaxy rests in the far wing of it. And you come into Laniakea and you see our galaxy in the far wing, and you see slowly getting bigger our own solar system in the far wing of our galaxy. And you see the earth and you look with love and wonder that that is your home. That is my home. And you keep floating down and start to feel the gentle and loving pull of the earth bringing you down into your body. And take a deep breath, feeling the true pillar within you. And then as you exhale, letting any particles of the last thoughts, ideas, beliefs float down into the center of the earth to burn up in the transformational fires. Bring your awareness into your body. Feel the truth of who you are. Touch your arms, your legs, your feet. Get back into the sacred vessel. This is where the work happens. This is where life happens. We go out and have some fun, and we come back and we experience life at a whole new level. Thank you. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And if you are curious about what the runes might have to say to you, what messages might come through for you, whether you're questioning something in your life, or whether you're curious about something, or whether you just feel the pull of what is the message. Rune readings are very powerful, and they give such great insight, and they don't answer your questions for you, but they open up the pathway to clarity within you. That's empowering. That is fifth dimension. Access that with me, these ancient symbols. Today, bringing us more and more into 5D. I'm going to hold up the one Youre rune again, because the one Youre is about following the joy. What brings you joy? Sometimes no brings joy. Yes. Yes. Wherever you are, thank you so much. If you're interested in a rune reading, reach out to me. Comment here. Send me a DM. I'm being.boundless on Instagram. I think I'm Laura Christine 808 on Facebook. Or join the 5D Awakening community and catch me there, because this is really powerful and life is ready for you to grab it and experience it in the highest form. Satnam, my friends. Thank you so much.